Hello, I am going to take you through the presentation of the health and skills related components of physical fitness. Today is Thursday and the wind is blowing, and I'm going to hopefully provide this information as a review. If you had a fairly decent health education teacher in middle and high school, I hope that some of this information will be, like I said, a review to you. So first we're going to look at cardiovascular endurance. And when we think about cardiovascular endurance, we think about the ability for the heart and lungs to work together efficiently to provide oxygen-rich blood to the body. And someone that is considered to have good cardiovascular endurance is someone that can perform aerobic activity over a period of time without getting overtired. For instance, you are able to complete a mile run even if you're walking part of it, walking fast. So you're elevating your heart, you're working for a period of time, 15 to 20 minutes, you're able to complete the activity. And once the activity is done, you don't feel like you have to immediately lay down or you're going to pass out or that you aren't able to perform any other activities for the remainder of the day. Typically think about different, and I want you to, as we go through these different components, think about the type of athlete that would need to have this type of cardiovascular endurance. When we're thinking about exercises or activities that will improve cardiovascular endurance, I've listed a few above. So jogging, fast walking, again, not just walking across your room or to get something to drink. This is walking at a pace that is fast enough that your breathing becomes a little bit labored and you know that your heart is beating faster than it was at the beginning. We know that soccer, basketball, hiking, biking, dancing, all of those things, again, the activity is going to last for a period of time. It's not a quick start and stop. It's not a sprint, something that is going to just last a matter of seconds. This is going to last a matter of minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, or more. We know that soccer players, cross-country runners, when we think about target heart rate, what your heart rate, where it should be to where you should get your heart beating and maintain that heartbeat so that you are providing good exercise for your heart to improve cardiovascular endurance. Target heart rate is based on your age and your gender, and we can look at that a little bit later. So these are the activities. A cross-country runner, soccer player, the high endurance athletes, typically their target heart rate, not their target heart rate, their resting heart rate would be maybe as low as 30 or 40 beats in a minute. And that's important to consider because over time, if I were to think about how many times my heart has to beat in a minute to perform its job, meaning to circulate blood, the fewer times my heart beats in a minute versus this fast, like beat, my fist is simulating a heartbeat. If my heart has to beat this fast to do its job versus this fast to do the same job, which heart over time is going to be able to perform for a longer period of time, meaning extend your life. So the earlier we start working on our cardiovascular endurance, the greater likelihood we're able to live a longer, healthier, more fulfilled, physically active life. Here's a formula for target heart rate. You can look at this and when you, I'll also provide you the link to this presentation so that you can get in here. There are different formulas that people use to figure out what their target heart rate is. So basically, where should I elevate my heart, or how high should I elevate my heartbeat and maintain that heartbeat within a range that is going to be the optimal level of exertion for me to perform and improve cardiovascular endurance. If I'm working on sprints or lifting, power lifting, where I need to perform an action or an event quickly, so for like Justin, you do shot put discus, so you need to generate power and strength in a short amount of time. You're not having to exert that same strength and power for a long period of time. So your need to have high strength, high power, speed, those are all critical for you to be successful. Cardiovascular endurance is important for your overall health, whereas we look at other athletes, so we're looking at Morgan or Sky, you all are playing field hockey, and you need good cardiovascular endurance and you need speed, agility. So we'll talk about all those. And I know Chris and Colin, several of you are basketball players, so getting into that. But what's important for you to know is how to calculate what your target heart rate should be so that when you're looking to improve cardiovascular endurance, you're monitoring your heart rate, elevating your heart rate to a point that you are going to see some benefit. Muscular endurance is the ability for a group of muscles to perform over a period of time without becoming overtired. This is different than muscular strength. For example, how long could you hold the plank? Or you're asking, when you're jogging, you're asking your leg muscles to continue that repeated movement over time. If I don't have endurance in my muscles, then I'm not going to be able to maintain the request I'm putting on the body to perform a specific physical activity. Ways that we can improve our muscular endurance are listed here: lunges, the dreaded lunges, sit-ups, push-ups, planks. So thinking about endurance versus strength will be important as we go through as well. Muscular strength, the maximum amount of force a muscle can exert in one single effort. If you're familiar with lifting weights, you do your max repetition or the maximum amount of weight. So we're thinking about how strong am I? So I need to know that at any given time exactly how much force would a group of muscles be able to exert. And so the amount of strength I have in my biceps and triceps could look very different than the strength I have in my quadriceps, hamstrings, my gastrocnemius or calf muscles. So thinking about and keeping in mind, strength and endurance do not mean the same thing. Strength is in a relatively short amount of time, one single effort, versus endurance is a repeated movement or repeated ask for a muscle or a group of muscles to perform for an extended period of time. Some people still get those confused. Ways to improve muscle strength: weight training, lunges with added weight, just put like tire flipping, pull-ups, all of those different things will help you to improve in strength. And here we are versus looking at a comparison of muscular strength versus muscular endurance. So again, just to clarify, for those of you that still, I know a lot of you as athletes and prior athletes have trained, and hopefully you had a coach that was very good at explaining why you did the specific exercises and why that was important. So endurance, again, repeating an exercise, moderate weight. If I'm looking at the column on the right hand side, and so I'm trying to do multiple numbers of repetitions, so 12, 20, 15. For me, it's not as important for me to improve my strength as it is for me to develop like lean muscle tissue, meaning that I want to have some definition, but I'm not looking to be able to bench press 200 pounds. I'd like to be able to perform or complete 2 or 3 pull-ups. 5 would be like the jackpot for me. I have to improve my strength, but I'm not looking to mimic this gentleman on the left-hand side. Flexibility is range of motion in joints. How well are you able to perform an action that requires your body to basically twist, turn, and do an action? So a quick one you could do is if you raise one arm above your head and then take the opposite hand, reach behind you and try to connect your fingers together. Most people at the onset, they will do their dominant hand going up first. And then if you switch, you'll see that you might have a little bit more trouble connecting the two. Good little test for you to do at home. Typically, we see that girls tend to be a little bit more flexible than the boys, and boys tend to have a little bit more strength because they have, in general, more muscular muscle tissue than girls. That's just general, not always in everybody. And ways to improve flexibility are here: stretching, yoga, things that would help you increase that range of motion. And I believe we talked a little bit about dynamic versus static stretching and when the appropriate time to do those is. Body composition. This is the percent of body fat versus other lean tissues and in the organs. And you want to think about based on male or female. So for body composition, we have what's called BMI, where you look at your body mass index, and it's a good generalized formula or way to give you an idea of your body mass. But if you are an athlete, this can be very misleading, and I don't always encourage people to hold this to be the ultimate truth, because I always use female basketball players who might be 5'10", 11, or 6 feet tall, and they very easily could weigh 175, 180 or more pounds. If they were to do their body mass index, it might indicate that they are obese, when in fact they are very lean, have very low body fat, because we know that muscle takes up more space and weighs more than body fat does. So I encourage you to, as you're looking at your fitness assessments that you'll get to a little later, to just keep that in mind and don't hold that to be true, but rather look at it as a general gauge. We're going to look at the FIT principle, and I'm going to start that in another video, so hang tight.